Okay, I'm going to be putting the intake manifold back on today. As you can see, I've got the intake manifold off. There's the intake for each cylinder. I painted those valve covers blue. They look pretty nice. And what do you know? My intake gasket came with some RTV sealant, so that's nice. And we're going to apply this RTV sealant along this area here, including the corners and back here, as well as on this seal here a little bit, and around here like they tell you to in the service manual. So I'm going to apply this and then install the intake manifold. Well, I forgot to film the procedures. Oh well. Well, I thought about maybe painting that new intake manifold that I got. No, not the intake manifold. The crankcase gasket and the intake manifold gasket, which is this piece right here. I don't need this light. Let me go set this off to the side here. Anyway, I've got a new gasket on here, and that's what this pan is as well. And back over here I put the crankcase vent back on. New seal on that. Put RTV sealant along where the new gasket goes. And I did a lot of painting here with some of the new parts that I put on. Not everything's been painted up yet, but I got this air filter painted, and I've got an oversized air filter in here. I got the wrong size air filter, so I took a bolt with a ton of washers to fill up the gap here with this longer bolt, because the air filter is taller than it should be. So there's a gap in here, but there's a rubber seal along the top and the bottom here. So as long as this has pressure on it, it still forces the air to go through the shield, or through the filter rather. I just have to make sure that I don't get any water up through there, which I don't need to worry about because I'm not going to be doing that kind of stuff yet. But I got these painted here. I painted the bolts and the engine hoist mounts silver. So as these here, I painted these silver. Valve covers blue. Painted this piece here silver. Oil dipstick, painted that blue. I put the mechanical fuel pump back on with a new fuel filter. Painted the injector lines blue. There's the injector right there. That took a lot of work, cleaning off all those lines and painting them, but it was worth it. It looks nice. There's the air intake manifold. Painted those bolts as well. And put a new oil filter on there. And the new air filter is on as well. So there's the engine. All I'm waiting on now is some way to mount this on a stand. I might just end up building a stand or something to hold this thing while it runs, because this thing's basically ready to run now. I don't have the power steering, power brakes, air conditioning, or the alternator hooked up, but I don't really need that if I'm just gonna have it running on a stand. Really, the fan doesn't even have to turn either if it's running for short periods of time, so it doesn't get too hot. I was reading in the manual, I gotta have at least 9 volts of current going from this terminal here to this terminal here for the injector pump to work. It's like when you turn the key on, this receives a signal and allows it to pump fuel. So I'm gonna have to get that hooked up. Here's the throttle right here, and if you look close, you'll see that pushes that lever out, which on the bottom down there, that pushes into the injector. When I push the throttle forward like that, it allows more fuel to be pumped. So simple stuff there. don't have my glow plugs hooked up yet. I think I'm gonna get a new wiring harness here because I don't know, this stuff, a lot of the wires were cut up when I got this engine here, and some wires are broken, others look kind of frayed and worn out and stuff. So it can't cost too much to get a new wiring harness like this. It'll probably be worth it anyway. So there we go. This will probably be the last video until I can get a stand to mount this engine on and get it running. Man, I can't wait. This thing ought to sound really bad with this having no muffler or anything, just coming straight out of the cylinders there. Sound really mean. And there it is. Looks nice being painted. So, moving on to Project B. Find a stand to mount this on so we can run it outside of a truck.